Yesterday, I started talking about the expectancy that we have now for the second coming of the Lord. And as I shared in Matthew, red letter, Jesus said, not Mike Heil, not Billy Graham, Jesus said that as in the days of Noah, so would it be in the days of the coming of the Son of God, talking about the second coming of the Lord. And it said that there would be marrying, giving in marriage, eating and drinking, and I told you those things aren't bad. Now maybe we should control our eating and drinking, but marriage is usually looked on as a very good thing. But the emphasis that the Lord gives us there is that people were going about their daily events, but they just weren't factoring in or expecting the second coming of the Lord. They weren't looking for the second coming of the Lord. Last Monday, we looked for the solar eclipse. We expected the solar eclipse, probably for a number of months. And the expectation grew and grew as the time got closer. Based on my knowledge of Scripture, and I believe God has trained me up in the Scripture, the second coming of the Lord is right around the corner. I believe He's right at the door. Now, let me share just a couple things why I believe that. One is I believe we are as in the days of Noah. Where's our expectancy in America? Well, I think our expectancy is on whether the Royals are going to win and get into the playoffs. I think our expectancy is in what are the latest events that the Kardashians are doing. I think our expectancy is in where the economics of the nation are going. Is the stock market raising or falling? Our expecting is what is going to happen in the Game of Thrones. But our expectation is not to look for the second coming of the Lord. In fact, I think that's pretty low on the list of most people in America today. And yet, sadly, it's very close. What are a couple other things that happened in the days of Noah that we can look at that the Lord was talking about? Well, in Genesis, the 6th chapter, it says this about the days of Noah. It says, when the Lord saw the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that every intent and thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. One thing that was prevalent in the days of Noah is man was constantly looking for the worst. And man's intent was evil. Now, when it means evil, it doesn't necessarily mean murder, rape, assault, even though that's included in there. It means that man was looking for what he could get himself personally for his family and wasn't concerned much for anybody else. And that's exactly what happens today. Another passage which talks about the times of the Lord's second coming is in 2 Timothy 3, and it says very vividly there that men will be lovers of self, lovers of money, and lovers of pleasure. Are those things happening in our society? Of course they are. And people are going after pleasure tooth and toenail. They're trying to find pleasure wherever they can. It's amazing to me how much recreation centers around going camping, going to soccer tournaments, going to softball tournaments, going to concerts. Now, is anything innately wrong with that? No. But when that is put up as a God and a treasure of our heart before God and Jesus Christ, yes, then it becomes wrong. Then it is an expectancy that blinds us to the expectancy of the second coming of the Lord. And that's where the evil lies in it. But then there's another verse in Genesis, the 6th chapter, 11, that talks about the times of Noah, and it says this: the earth was also corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. Do we have any violence on the earth today? Well, I'll tell you what. Turn on CNN, ABC, Fox News, CBS, any of them. And every day we're going to see a car driving into a crowd, or a truck driving into a crowd, or a bomb exploding somewhere. Or we're going to find that Antifa is going on one of their protests, which surprisingly they come to with baseball bats, and they come to covered head to toe in black, like ISIS does, meaning to cause violence. We find violence where people are going in and assaulting at a record level today. Crime is up today, violent crime. And so our society is permeated with violence. I believe that a lot of violence is spurred by television, records, and I'll tell you what, these are the days of Noah. But that's just one of the reasons why I believe the second coming of the Lord is close. Tomorrow, next devotional, I'm going to talk about what I believe the trigger is to the second coming of the Lord. There's one event that has happened in our lifetime that makes it clear that second coming of the Lord is very close. The clock is ticking now and has been ticking for a number of years. So be here for the next devotional and you'll find out what that is. Subscribe to my channel and you'll get a report of when these videos are placed up. Once again, the Lord's blessings be on you daily.